Let's begin by telling you that the leadership of the organized labor, comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, has affirmed their commitment to proceed with an indefinite nationwide strike set to begin today. This announcement comes after a 4-hour meeting with the National Assembly leadership in Abuja on Sunday. Speaking on behalf of the labor unions, TUC President Festus Osifo stated that the outcome of the meeting would be communicated to the respective organs of both labor centers before any final decision could be made. Osifo expressed frustration with the government's reluctance to finalize the living wage for Nigerian workers despite labor's efforts to avoid economic disruption. The National Assembly stepped in to mediate the deadlock between the federal government and the labor unions, recognizing the legitimacy of both parties concerned.
Will also be fair. Hence, in the last 4 hours, we have been making appeal, and we are still appealing to the leadership of the NLC and the TUC to quickly return to the negotiating table with government with a view to finding a lasting solution on this minimum wage issue. So we thank you. Without going into more details, I believe we've had very positive meetings. We read from both sides, and we are happy and satisfied that action will be taken on both sides. I appeal that the strike is suspended and negotiations commence in the interest of the Nigerian economy and the interest of all Nigerians united.
Is that we have agreed to prevail on the government to revisit the issue of the 35,000 Nigerian workers wage award that was started in October last year and stopped in February.
We would have been much more happy.
I am now joined by News Central correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu to give us an update on the indefinite nationwide strike in Abuja at the moment. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
So go ahead with your updates. Go ahead and tell us what's the sense of frustration or even determination among the workers that if you've spoken to anyone.
Yes. I'm standing right here at the Central Business District here in Abuja. Just by the Labour House, and the Labour House has a lot of ministries and parastatals around it, like the CBN, the Federal Ministry of Finance, a lot of construction sites. So Labour executives have been enforcing the strike action. They have shut down construction workers out of their construction sites. A lot of government buildings here have been shut down, and they are really enforcing it. Most of the laborers who are depending on this construction site are really affected because they didn't expect that they are going to be involved in the strike. So I have spoken to a lot of them, and they actually expressed their displeasure over what's going on.
All right, I can see, some workers, gallivanting behind you. Are they part of those who have been locked out of their offices or even construction site? And have you spoken to any one of them behind you?
Yes. I've spoken to a lot of them. The enforcement is so serious here because the labor headquarters is just beside me. So you can expect to see a lot of compliance because the police are also being used to enforce this order, because the labor executives are walking around with a police van, and they are going around to make sure that no one, is breaking the...
all right, Emmanuel, now still talking about those workers, how would you say they intend to manage to cope with the daily challenges of the strike, and do they have hopes for resolution that's between the labor and the government?
Yes. Looking at the severity of what's happening today, we expect to see another meeting happening by the leadership of the National Assembly. which will be different from that of yesterday, because Abuja is really dry and people are already complaining. Very soon we are going to be sharing videos of these private workers, these construction workers who have been affected. So we hope that because of the severity of this strike, because of how serious it is and how it's affecting people, we expect to see some response from government officials and of course from the National Assembly today.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bagudu from Abuja. All right, we also have a correspondent in Abuja as well, talking about Joshua Imaraye. Hello, Joshua, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you clearly, loud and clearly.
All right, Joshua, where are you at the moment in Abuja? And go ahead and give us an update of your location.
I'm currently at the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, and behind me is the Federal Secretariat, and the gates, they are shut under lock and key. We have a series of labor leaders going around to ensure that there is full compliance with the order from the National Union and the organized labor. I have here with me one of the labor union leaders too.
All right, one of the labor unions, so go ahead and speak to him. Is he ready to talk?
Comrade Ali, yes, Comrade Ali is ready to talk.
All right, please go ahead and ask him a few questions.
Okay, with me here is Comrade Ali, who is one of the labor union leaders in the Federal Secretariat in Abuja. Comrade Ali, what do you make of the entire situation here, and do you think there will be any resolution coming in from now?
Well, if at all the government dance to our tone, there will be a resolution. But if they are not ready to dance to our tone, we'll continue until when they answer us.
So how long do you think this will go on?
Depends on him, the president.
Depends on who?
Depends on the president when he decides.
When he decides?
Yes.
Oh well. Yeah, you just have
one positive answer from him.
Okay.
Anything negative, it will still remain. Even if it is 1 month, we are still on strike.
Okay, you just heard from Comrade Aliu from the Federal Secretariat in Abuja.
Okay. Now, we've actually had situations in the past where, the indefinite strike, gets called off, shortly after. But we're seeing that he is saying that it's going to be indefinite, but it's still deadlocked. So is there a possibility of them coming to a consensus? Because so many people are even the workers actually saying the amount of 400,000 naira, for civil servants is actually much. So can you go ahead and ask him if he feels that, at least they would come to a consensus, on that amount?
Well, according to the recent demand the labor union is making, they are currently demanding for an amount of 400,000 naira and above.
400 and something.
460 something.
Yes.
Do you think this amount might be reduced for a consensus to be met? Do you think the labor union will go back to their decision?
No, you see, what you have now, the money is 60 something. 615 that we requested for.
Okay, we have requested for 615, yeah?
Yeah, we have already reduced the money to 400 and something, 470 something. But the president is not ready to take care of the civil servant. So I already said in his speech that he's going to take care of the civil servant. I'm not thinking of that. Now that is not ready to do it, we are ready to fight it to the last call.
So there's
nothing like meeting until you just announce that something you want, I did it.
So there will be no going back on that 400,000.
That tariff have to come down too.
Okay, the electricity tariff.
The electricity tariff have to come down. Without coming down, no way.
You just heard from Comrade Aliu. He said there is no going back on the 400 and something thousand that they are hammering on, and there seems to be a very, very strong spirit to ensure that this demand is met.
All right, I'm actually tempted to ask, about what he feels about what the government said, that the 400,000 naira will definitely shut down the economy. But let's move to our correspondent in Borno State, Umar Kirawa. Hello, Umar, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Umar. So what is, the level of compliance like, in Borno State as regards the strike?
Well, there are some aspect of compliance in Borno State. However, there are certain locations which I visited earlier this morning where there seems to be working ongoing. Particularly, I was at the State Specialist Hospital where I met a lot of patients going into the hospital to seek medical attention, and a lot of them have obtained their cards waiting for doctors to make consultations and then obtain some medications. But however, at the Maiduguri International Airport, Muhammadu Buhari International Airport, I've learned that there is total compliance by the organized labor here in Borno State, because even we've learned that even in Abuja, there's the organized labor has shut down the airport. As such, people from Borno State are not using the international airport. However, on the other hand, students are seen going to schools to write their WAEC examination. And to give us more light on this, the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress Borno State is here to shed more light on this. So you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Yes. First, you introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Commander Yusuf Ini, the chairman of Nigerian Labour Congress here in Borno State.
Okay, what is the situation like? And of course, with regard to the compliance of the organized labor indefinite strike here in Borno.
As rightly said by you, yesterday evening we are able to hold our joint State Executive Council meeting with NSA and TUC, and we took a position that we are also not going to be left behind. So this morning, as early as 6:30, the leadership, which we formed as a strong monitoring team to this strike action, we went as early as possible, as early as 6:30 to shut down the Musa Osman Secretariat, and at the same time to shut down the Federal Secretariat. However, this is the first three to 4 hours of the commencement of the strike. We are having issue with our children who are writing WAEC. So, and then at the same time, we are going now to see how best to solve the situation, because at the health institution, most of our health institutions, people doesn't know that today the strike have commenced, though we have aired everything yesterday in TV and radio, and then mobilization is ongoing. This is the first 3 hours. Definitely, right now we are at the Nigerian Labour Congress House, trying to form ourselves to go out to enforce compliance.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, there has been a lot of issues, particularly with regard to the enforcement of such kind of indefinite strike, particularly in Borno State, taking into consideration the years of insurgency, the trauma of the people, and so on and so forth. Are we going to see the total enforcement? Because in the previous years, we've seen skeletal enforcement of such services, particularly in the health centers, and other sectors, particularly the transport. Now there are a lot of vehicles on the road and so on. What is the situation like?
Yes. We have been experiencing this type of problem previously, but this time around, we are having a relatively peace within the state capital. So within the state capital, since we are having relatively peace, we are going to say that we impose the strike. As for the health institutions, we have taken a position yesterday that we are going to provide skeletal services, essential services to those that may need an emergency cases. So right now, these skeletal services will be provided at the health centers, and at the same time, Ministry for Water Resources also we take a position that we are going to provide also a skeletal services for our operators, so that the citizens cannot suffer much. We are just coming up from our post-insurgency, and we don't want to have more trauma on what we have had before. But we are going to follow it the way it's supposed to be based by the law. The transport commuters will just sat down now to meet the management of the company to make sure that all our commuters, those that are operating Borno Express, would be withdrawn from the road. Right now, after this interview, we are going to enforce the compliance.
All right, please, just before he leaves, can you go ahead and, ask him what he thinks the personal cost of the strike is, to the everyday life of the Nigerians?
Yes, we all aware. Yesterday there is a very high meeting that was called, comprising of ministers, the chief of staff to the president, the secretary to the federal government, to see the best way to intervene. But however, we have already given them an ultimatum on 1st May. 1st May, we have given them an ultimatum that whatever situation we find ourselves, let them make sure this negotiation is over before 31st May. And we can see how the negotiation is going on. It's really sympathetic. We are really sympathizing ourselves for federal government to offer 60,000. In fact, they offer 47,000 when in the next meeting they add 3,000, which to us is not fair. The statistics we took for a single person, a single worker who has no wife, no children, we estimated for him to pay transport and food, it's worth 100,000 naira. Talk less of somebody who is having 4 children, his wife and himself. Yeah, that is not acceptable by labor, and we feel federal government should come to our aid because of the economic situation we find ourselves in the country.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, Umaru, let's come back to Lagos here, where we have our correspondent, Bernard Akede, waiting on us. Hello, Bernard. Can you hear me? Good morning. Bernard, if you can hear me, can you say something?
I can hear you loud and clear, Dash.
All right, fantastic. Where in Lagos are you at the moment? And go ahead and give us an update.
All right, Dash, and I'm at one of the entrances of Lagos State Secretariat in Alausa Ikeja here, not too far from our studios. And what you're seeing behind me is pretty much unusual on a Monday morning. You can see a long trail of vehicles here. These presumably are vehicles that belong to Lagos State workers. And then the people standing just by the vehicles are staff of Lagos State Secretariat. Now, they are standing here because, of course, they have to comply with the strike action that the National Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress has called for. This started exactly this morning and has kicked off. There also are security vehicles here just to ensure that nothing goes wrong. As at very early this morning, even before 7 a.m., there was a bus from Labour Congress right here blocking off this entrance to the Secretariat, and then another entrance just beside Ikeja City Mall has also been blocked off. And it's believed that it's going to be like this all through today and possibly tomorrow in compliance with the ongoing industrial action that has been called by the National Labour Congress. And I'll ask the camera to swing a bit so that you can have a clearer picture of what exactly is happening behind me. There's a large crowd of persons standing just outside the complex of Alausa Secretariat. Now, there have been vehicles of staff trying to make their way into the Secretariat, but as you can see right there...
Bernard, what's happening? There's a lady running away from the Secretariat.
Civil Service Union, I believe, yes? Nigeria Civil Service Union blocking off.
Okay, I actually saw a lady, running away from the Secretariat. I hope there's nothing actually going on. But then, on your way to the Secretariat, can you describe to us the scenes that you probably witnessed, talking about places like hospitals, schools, and also transportation systems, grinding to a halt?
Well, schools are still in session, and for the schools we passed, activities seem to be continuing. We haven't passed by any hospitals yet, but it's looking like some private companies have also been affected by the strike. Earlier this morning, we passed by the factory of 7-Up Bottling Company. Usually, you would expect to see huge crowds of persons, particularly factory workers, trying to get in there. The same thing at the Nigeria Bottling Company, that's Coca-Cola Bottling Company here in Alausa Ikeja. Both factories were very scanty in terms of having factory workers hovering around, around their gates. So I believe that this is also in compliance to the industrial action that has been called. We also got information this morning that even the Ikeja City Mall that houses ShopRite and other stores was also visited by members of the National Labour Congress. I'm not sure why they were there, but it seems like they also went there to ensure that there was compliance. Now, those stores are not run by the government, so it's a bit surprising. But if the information we got is anything to go by, then it means that the Labour Congress is serious about this industrial action, and they are going from company to company, from store to store, and from organization to organization, just to ensure that there is 100% compliance to this indefinite industrial action that commences today.
All right, Bernard, let's move to our other correspondent in the East, talking about Chinwe Ugele. She's in Umuahia at the moment. Hello, Chinwe. Can you hear me?
Good morning, I can hear you.
All right, Chinwe, good morning. So please go ahead and give us an update. Where in Umuahia are you? And go ahead and give us an update on the industrial action happening at the moment.
Okay, presently I'm in front of the gate leading to the Accountant General's office, where labor leaders are currently at right now. Earlier, they were at the Federal Medical Center in Umuahia to seal up the place and ensure that workers are not offering services to people. So the labor chairman, the chairman in the state, Comrade Okoro, is right behind me, and the people. So I would like to bring him here to also say, in his own words, what NL says to the street standing on. Yes, a lot of banks, and all the banks are closed. None is functioning right now. So I'd like to invite Mr. Okoro to please come. Thinking.
What is concretion? That by the grace of God.
Okay, so there you have him. Mr. Okoro is addressing the people concerning labor leaders, basically, on what is happening today. So it is actually in compliance of directive from the national body, telling people to stay home until the federal government, agrees to their demand of the 400,000 naira. So there you have him. Good morning, Mr. Okoro. Okay, so here with me is the NLC chairman here in Abuja State. Please go ahead and tell us what you're doing this morning.
This is a national directive from the National Council of NLC, organized labor. All effort that was made last night to make the federal government come back to reasoning to enable proved abortive. The federal government have not even shifted a bit. They are still in their own state. But we are telling them that we have come. The strike have commenced. We will not go back until the federal government do the needful. We are not going back until we receive a counter order from Comrade Joe Ajero and Comrade Rosifo. That's the national president, NLC, and national president of TUC. Remember, this action is joint action of NLC and TUC. No going back. They're saying 60,000 naira, and they are claiming, boasting, that they have offered 100%. And we are telling them that fuel pump price fuel, as at last year, January, was 164 naira. Now it is 840 naira or 50 naira. When you time it in percentage, it's above 450%.
Chinwe, we might actually have to stop him there. It seems he has so much to say. So what we're going to do now is would reconnect with our correspondent, first of all, Emmanuel Bagudu in Abuja. Emmanuel, if you just hold on, Chinwe, hold on, I'll definitely get back to you. But Emmanuel, if you can hear me, go ahead and, tell us what's next after this. What should be expected?
Okay, yeah, a lot of things are happening right now because we have stranded construction workers who have nowhere to go, and then of course we just have, there's a bus here that's going around. I think FCT Urban Mass Transit is going around to pick up these construction guys who are stranded to take them back to their houses. So is that serious?
All right.
That's what's just happened now.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. In one sentence, Joshua, let's hear from you.
Well, it all points to one direction here in Abuja. That's the labor union. They are not backing down. They are still resilient on their mandate, and they are saying that unless the federal government buys into their demands, the action is not going to be stopping anytime soon.
All right, let's hear from Bernard Akede, who is in Lagos.
Well, it's pretty much the same here in Lagos as it is in other parts of the country. Labor Union here have said there's no going back until Victoria Asata. All of the labor offices are going to be shut. Secretariat offices will be shut. Hospitals and other places would also be shut indefinitely until eventually they are able to meet at a convergence point. That's talking about labor and the government. From our part, we will continue to go around to see how far compliance to this strike will be adhered to.
All right, Chingwe. Chingwe, please go ahead and let's hear what's next after this.
Okay, you heard it from the Labour chairman here in Abuja State. It's fight to finish because they are going to go around, like the man has said, they are going to go around to different offices, private, government, agencies to make sure that they are complying to the directive of the NLC and TUC.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen and lady. Those are our correspondents in Lagos, Abuja, and Umuahia. We'll definitely keep tabs on the story as the story progresses. Thank you so much.